Mantle evacuation. Vault. Team RWBY and Penny arrived before Cinder, who was alone in her plans. Penny was in better shape as she prepares to open the vault. Blake, don't you think this is too easy? Weiss, keep on guard. Young, we don't know what that bitch is plotting. Static. Cutter, Miss Rose, keep the relic there. We are still at 69% done with the evacuation. RWBY, dang it. They're still not done. Penny, do you think we should not open it, friend Ruby? Ruby, yeah, we don't want Cinder getting it instead. That's too bad. They turned to look at Cinder, who was waltzing towards them. Cinder, I'll have my way no matter what you do. As Flames dances in her eye, and the fight for Atlas begins. Cinder, having more experience in being a maiden, was having an easy time harassing Team RWBY as she detonates glyphs of fire beneath or near them. Weiss counters using her glyphs, as Yang and Blake combos to close the distance. Cinder parries and counters the two as they correct themselves and kept her from launching range attacks. Cinder decides to create the flaming sphere again as Weiss flinches. As she smiles, Ruby nudges Weiss, snapping her out of it as she summons an RWBY. Cinder, you people hoarding power makes me sick. Cinder scowls at that advantage lost as she didn't have time to think as Penny charges in with her swords, keeping Cinder suppressed as she finally had enough and blasted her away with a sphere of fire. Penny, like you're any different. Ruby snipes away, causing her to lose her target as she looks to Ruby, with Weiss nowhere to be seen. As a shadow loomed over the false maiden as the RWBY, and Weiss was in a large glyph above her as the night dropped and causes Cinder to fall back into a fist by Yang. As she was knocked down with her anger rising, she lashed out with the grim claw, slapping Yang and Ruby away as Blake used her after image to get in close and sliced at her, hitting her mask as she panics and let loose a stream of flames, sending Blake flying as Yang jumps and catches her. Ruby then changed her magazine into gravity dust as she propels herself to Cinder's spinning crescent rose to increase momentum as Cinder barely blocks and creates another flaming thermometer aiming Ruby's stomach. Young, Ruby. Then a barrage of blades flew and smacks her, taking away a sizable amount of aura. She looks to the side to see Penny grabbing Ruby and fleeing as she sent a fireball to take them both out as the arm's Gigas blocks the attack, but shatters to pieces from the power of the maiden. Cinder, you think you can stand up to me? You just got that power. I've been training for this moment all my life. Then covering fire hits her from behind as Yang and Blake rushes to Ruby's side. Yang, you think that'd scare us? The team regroups, but they were getting exhausted. Cinder, just give me that power and die. As she charges at the exhausted teens. Then two rockets hit her from behind, further draining her aura as she looks behind her to see.
Jaune, in.
Cinder, why is that voice familiar? Ruby, John? Cinder looks to the red-headed Reaper, then back to the machine, then the name registered to her. Cinder, you did this to me. You ruined me. As she released a dangerous amount of magic as the pressure knocks down the beacon team. But the MKII wasn't even effective. John, I'm only gonna say this once, die. Cinder, you have no authority over me. As she sent a massive fireball towards him and making contact, exploding, making a huge crater and a cloud of smoke. Cinder, ha 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 ha, you're nothing to me. As the beacon crew thought he was dead by the severity of the attack. But her laughing was cut short as something shimmered from the smoke. The shield then shuts down to recharge. John, all of this and for what? Cinder, no one will ever understand what I went through. John, oh boo-hoo-hoo, cry me a river, build a bridge, and go over it. You're willing to let the world burn just because you suffered? Newsflash, everyone suffers at some point. But you don't see us going megalomaniac over it. Cinder felt nothing but rage as she resumes her onslaught and created many glyphs underneath the Yggdrasil. The suit's shields prevented any further damage as he charges at her using his recoilless rifle, trying to stagger her, but she used her agility, taking advantage of the lumbering behemoth. But even with all that, the processing and analytic on-board computer found a pattern, and he used his missiles to lock onto her. She tried flying and launching fireballs at it, but it seems the missiles don't detonate to heat as it continues coming after her. She was cornered by Gatling fire. As she stopped moving as the missiles got closer, she looked back as it makes contact and blew her out of the air as she crashed. Her aura shatters. As she was about to stand, a heavily armored foot stomped on her, keeping her from escaping as a battling gun and recoilless rifle was aimed at her face. Cinder, this isn't how it's supposed to end. As he glares at her from his visor. Jaune. On the contrary, Cinder, I couldn't allow this to end otherwise. As he opened fire on her face with almost everything he got. Moments later, alert ammo, 16%. When he stopped, only the lower part of Cinder remained as her torso, and above were turned into a bloody mess and red mist. Jaune, good riddance. He looks behind him to see his friends, all either slack-jawed or bug-eyed. Then he walked over to them as he removed his helmet. Jaune, are you guys alright? Some of them were stunned silent. Jaune, I'll explain later. At the same time launch bay, the Aesops arrived to see the 3 Spartans and Crow and Robin taking out the AKs. Leon slices an AK from head to nuts with his energy sword. August skewered 3 AKs in one shot with the railgun. And Robert was ripping multiple squads with his plasma cannon. The rest of the team moves to fight by Vine restrains Harriet and Elm as Marrow used his semblance. Team Omega pointed their weapons but lowered them when Marrow declared that they do not wish to follow the General's idiotic plan. Vine handed them the restraints as Crow and Robin ties the 2 loyally blind operatives up. Harriet, you're betraying Atlas. Robin, Atlas is not a place, it is its people. Crow, am a drunk and I van understand that. Leon was connecting to Isabel. Static. Isabel, give me some time, I'll have this bomb inert. Get it far from the populace, just in case. Static. Jerome, this is evacuation site Delta. We are being swarmed by larger hordes and more are on their way. We are only partially complete with our evac. Isabel, I'm detecting a massive swarm headed your way. I'm redirecting some of the Spartans from finished evacuations to your location. Jaune, this is Commander Ark and still have some ammo. The vault is secured, I'm on my way. Evacuation site Bravo. Jerome, Red Team, keep them back. Unknown to all of them, a capsule in the Forerunner site opens.